Alright, this is the Chinese National Consumer Good Corporation (CNC's) biographical overview and current status report presentation. My name is Shadan Zaruni, CEO of Experts.com, and I'd now fancy to welcome your company to this presentation and final piece of material of this course, in which we indeed are to go over, break down, accelerate understanding of, and conclusively summarize the key concepts of what's already been covered in the preceding suite of presentations given throughout this course. So, by the end of this conclusive presentation, the hope is that you'll walk out with a brief understanding and intuition of what's already been going on and is going on with CNC still, and what the company's current status is within various markets of the world. So, what's on the agenda? We'll first begin our presentation by taking a look back at who CNC Company originally is, what their background is, what their goals mutually are, collectively speaking, what the challenges they're facing through the process of accomplishing the outlined goals they seek to accomplish, what the company's current status is within the European market and how they're perceived by the European customers using the products of the company. And then, halfway through the presentation, we're going to dive into the list of recommendations our company staff has collectively devised to resolve the trending issues within the company structure and the process of them trying to globalize their company name and brand. And then, prior to concluding the presentation by a few categories, we're going to dive into some of the advantages and disadvantages of taking or even not taking the suggested approaches and how they work. And then finally, prior to finishing the presentation, we do have a reference list of where this intel, this presentation, has been gathered from, respectively, which will be outlined in the report, which will coincide with the content of this presentation that is written prior to this presentation's composition provided to the audience by the time this presentation is being given. And then finally, an appendix, which is essentially an explanatory type of breakdown that will explain in detail, in some depth, how these approaches work, but not in a depth that is essential to technical explanations within the duration of this presentation. So, who is CNC Company? CNC Company stands as an abbreviation for the Chinese National Consumer Good Corporation, which is a major Chinese company that specializes in the production and manufacturing of personal hygiene products and cleaning agents, originally founded in the early 1960s and was initially known for its product, the Pow Pow bath gel, in the late 1990s and early 2000s. When the company's staff and senior management witnessed the remarkable growth and popularity rise of the Pow Pow bath gel product of the company in the early 2000s, within the Asian Chinese market, they then decided to expand their business operation and broaden their network of customers to foreign markets, including Europe and even the American and African markets, which are essentially beyond the scope of their WAN and the focal countries of their operation. Then they decided to expand that, but for that matter, they first started by making a recruit of professional managers of different cultures to handle the process and marketing procedures of globalizing their company and spreading the word about their products in various regions of the world and various markets, including Europe and the Southern and Northern American market. So, what are the goals of CNC Company at this stage? As outlined across the board up here, the first and initial goal of CNC Company is ultimately to globalize and expand CNC's business operation of manufacturing personal hygiene products and cleaning agents beyond the scope of their focal country of the focal countries of their operation, and mainly beyond the scope of mainland China and the Asian market. And then secondly, following up of a goal of theirs is to be a top competitor in the global emerging markets, such as the American, the Southern and Northern markets, and the European region markets. Thirdly, is to increase their production capacity as to fulfill the increasing demand for personal hygiene products and cleaning agents, especially in this era and age nowadays that we have really explored and discovered microscopic germ mates and diseases that might not be cured so easily. So the increasing demand is due to the fact that people have experienced a rise in the affiliations of these diseases and the spread of these diseases. That's why the demand has increased. So thereof, they want to increase the production capacity to fulfill that demand. And then finally, of a goal, as the number of goals keeps increasing, is to expand Paw market and increase its sales through while reinforcing the Chinese national identity through the selling of the product, which I believe is somewhat not really achievable, considering they have the ultimate goal of globalizing their company and brand name. There are essentially no risk-free solutions to contribute to the resolve of the recent controversial commercial of Paw Bath Gel and the bad image it has caused the company to have. The company is essentially to give up on some of their goals to achieve the more important and ultimate goals that they aim to accomplish. And speaking of which, well, we're now to discuss some of the barriers that the CNC company is facing through the process of trying to globalize their company. This journey is tough, I just know, but the initial and arguably the most important barrier of all that's hindering the success of the CNC company as a truly global company is the recent Paul bath gel commercial and the company, the bad company image it has left in the minds of foreign customers, including the European expansionist customers and the Chinese customers living in that part of the world who have essentially grown up within that culture. There's secondly of a barrier that is really obvious and logically applicable to CNC company is the company's out-of-date advertisement approaches. When they want to outdo or even outclass global companies that are always famous in this industry of personal hygiene products manufacturing and cleaning agent industry, they first initially have to modernize or even update, so to speak, their promotional brand elements and the approaches they take to advertise and commercialize their product. That is the way, the route of achieving or even experiencing the true globalism sense that most globalized companies have. And then thirdly of a barrier is the Paul bath gel inappropriate product associations. We've talked about this many times, especially when it comes to the European markets, given the fact that they're extremely sensitive when it comes to racial beliefs and factual mindsets of the race, of the concept of the race superiority and inferiority, especially when it comes to the black and white and the color of the skin judgments that are made between and among those people of the European markets. This especially holds true for the African American men and women, or customers, if you would, that would buy the product of Paul, knowing they've seen the product commercial, the recent product commercial that's been released by the senior management of the company, they would not really perceive it in the same way as the Chinese customers would take it funny and puns intended, so to speak. They would just interpret it differently in general, and it would somewhat make a bad impression of the company and cause the bad image to even worsen when just buying the product, knowing they've seen the commercial. And then finally, of a barrier that is not really that obvious, you don't really have to think about this so much. This is essentially not that much of a barrier. It is rather a requirement to become truly global of a company. A truly global company is, according to Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's, not really a species of identical animals, the strongest of which could lead. It is rather a jungle, like a jungle that has a variety of animals of different origins and cultures. It's not bound to a specific culture. Rather, it is, given the fact it is global, it is just managed by different managers and professionals hired by the senior management of the company in different regions of the world, so that they could comply to the needs and demands and beliefs of that culture's customers without upsetting the set of customers and segment that would buy the product in that part of the world. So centralized company power and high power distance is essentially a no-no when it comes to becoming truly global and aiming to accomplish the goal of being recognized as a truly global company. You have to entrust the authority of your company to various managers, a variety of managers and professionals hired by your own senior management to manage the operations in different regions and different cultures to make sure the company complies with the beliefs and demands and wishes of that culture's customers. Thirdly, we're now halfway through this presentation. We now have come to dive into a list of recommendations to be done to resolve the issues trending collectively devised by our staff of the company experts.com, which first includes the procedure to update their mindset. Try to not only globalize the product you intend to globalize, but also the mindset of your staff and recruitment of the ship that would just accompany you in the journey of globalizing your company so that they could fit to that of a global company's mindset. Secondly is to adapt a mindset or strategy of synergy and corporate work and cooperative culture. So it could just sound like a jungle having a variety of animals or creatures cooperating with each other to run the jungle without having the fact that power and the final say in the decision making only returns to a single authority, in this case the CEO. Fourthly is to just adapt and learn from the companies that are already global. Try to connect to the authorities and associates of the companies that are already global, that have already walked in the path that you're trying to walk into and put your foot stepped into, to just broaden your insight on what to do. That is the importance and vitality of having a broad network. Fourthly, prior to finishing the presentation, we are now to go to the advantages and disadvantages list of taking the suggested approaches. Like we said, you have to take the decentralized model, essentially to rectify the company image within the regions and foreign customers of those regions, the different cultures you're operating and trying to spread the word of your product in between, so that you could just make sure that they don't end up calling racist of your company you, or even your culture itself. The advantages and disadvantages of taking the suggested approaches, however, are include inconsistent price standards and structures, and quality standards that might vary from one expansion to another. That would essentially mean the expansions have various different money units of measure. That's why the price might really vary from one expansion to another. And the quality standards might also be different in different expansions based on what the preference of that culture, of the specific culture is when it comes to associating the product with certain myths or even motives, so to speak, in your in the Chinese languages. And then prior to finishing the presentation, we now have the reference list that is outlined in the presentation report that is written prior to the composition of this presentation, which will be provided to the audience. The appendix is also given in the presentation. That's why we now have to wrap the presentation up. I hope you enjoyed it. We're now out of time. Thank you. Out.